little dog poop bag holder that you can clip on your leash so that you always have doggy bags handy. So this holder fits a roll of dog poop bags, and you can stick it in and then pull the bags out through the opening on the other side. So you have a whole roll accessible on your walks, and the zipper just closes for easy refills. And then this little clip allows you to clip this to your dog's leash so you always have it. So this bag is super easy to make, and it's really cute. You can make matching leash or collar and dog accessories to go with it. So let's get started. To start, print your pattern. This is available on my website for free. Just click the link in the description and print it out, and make sure the 1 inch box measures 1 inch. That's how you know you printed the pattern at the right size. We're just going to need a 1/4 yard of fabric. I'm using this butterfly fabric from my fabric line called Spotted. You need a little zipper. I usually use a longer zipper than needed, but you only need about a 5-inch zipper. We can trim it down if you have a bigger zipper though. And then a swivel clasp with a little D-ring on it. Mine's about 3/4 inch, and that's a good size for this. We're also going to need fusible interfacing, just enough to cover the backs of our pattern pieces. So this is called Shape Flex, and I really like this kind of interfacing, but any fusible interfacing will work. So first we're going to cut out 2 dispenser pieces, 2 zipper pieces, and 1 tab piece. So cut out 2 of each piece, except that you only need 1 tab piece, and make sure you have interfacing on the back. You can either put the interfacing on before you cut the pattern pieces or after. And then our first step is going to be with the zipper pieces. So we can set everything aside. We're going to use these 2 zipper side pieces and the zipper. So we're going to pin one of these on each side of the zipper. And I like to do it right in the middle of the zipper so that I don't hit either metal pieces here. So the zipper is going to go in the middle of these 2 pieces. So you can lay it out like this and then flip them over to help you visualize how this is going to work. I like to just pin a few pins in here to hold it, and then we're going to sew as close to the zipper edge as you can. You don't need a zipper foot for this, just align your needle close to the zipper teeth. So we're going to sew right along here, and then we'll repeat with the other side. So I've sewn that, and you can see how it's going to turn out. You can press this over to hold it in place, and then we're going to put the other side on the other side of the zipper teeth. You just want to line up the short edges here of the zipper pieces so that they're on the same spot of the zipper. Sew that part, and then we'll press them open. Sew both sides and then press it open and top stitch along the fabric 1/8 away from the fabric zipper seam. And then that side is done for now, so we're going to set it aside, and then with our tab piece, fold over 1/4 inch on both of the long edges, and then press. Now fold this in half so that those folded edges match up, and press again. Now you have a piece that looks like this, and then we're going to top stitch on both sides of this little tab piece. Top stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from the sides. Okay, after your zipper tab is done, we're going to loop it over the swivel hook, the swivel clasp with the D-ring, and then we're going to bring out that zipper piece again and pin it right at the bottom. I like to leave it hanging over about 1/4 inch. We just don't need that much of a tab. I'm going to pin it and then I'm going to sew here to hold it on, back stitch. And we will sew this again when we put the bag together, but this is just to hold it there. All right, I've sewn that piece together and now I'm going to trim off the zipper and the excess tab here lined up with my bag piece. Okay, so that is ready. And then we're going to set that aside for now and work on the dispenser side. So the main thing about this side is that it has a hole in it for the bags to come through, so you don't have to open the zipper if you just need one bag. So to make that, we're going to fold these in half and press, and then we will create, so we're going to fold them in half and press, and then what we're going to do is put them together like this and sew them together on the inside, leaving a space. Use your pattern piece as a reference here. This is where we're going to leave the space. You can see the stitching lines. So what we're going to do now is open these up and use that crease to pin them together. So you're going to want to match like the corners here and here, and then match up that center crease. And if you want to use a fabric marker here to mark your lines, you can do that. So when we sew this together, we're going to leave a little space in the middle. It's less than an inch. You don't need much space to pull out a bag. So I'm going to draw little lines here and here. So I'm going to sew these sides together where the purple lines are. And when I get to right here, I'm going to back stitch really well a couple times so that your stitching doesn't come undone. And then we will open it up and I'll show you the open hole. After you've sewn that seam, you can open up your dispenser side the way that just fold those back on each other. And then you have your little opening right here for the bags to come out. Now this is optional, but I recommend top stitching around this opening with a really short stitch length, like a 2.2 millimeter stitch length, and back stitch just so that it stays extra sturdy, especially along these sides of the opening. The next step is to sew these two pieces together. So take your nicer side of your dispenser and put it face down on the zipper side. We're going to open the zipper so that it is inside the fabric here, and then we're only going to sew the 4 straight edges. Make sure your D-ring clasp is on the inside, so anything on the inside of this little sandwich will be on the outside of the bag. So we have our zipper here, our D-ring clasp here. Layer this and match up all these straight edges with pins. So we're going to sew this, but leave the corners open. So don't sew the corners, just sew those 4 edges, and I recommend back stitching just a little bit at each end to keep it together. If your lower layer with the zipper is a little bigger than the top, that's okay. That is because zipper sizes can vary. So sometimes these end up wider because of a wider zipper tape, but that's okay. We'll just use the smaller side, the dispenser side, as our pattern. So you can either trim off that excess or just sew it and it'll just be on the inside of the bag. So pin all the way around and then sew these 4 sides. If you had overhang on the zipper side, now we can trim it off, and then we're also going to trim off these zipper tape pieces. Okay, I forgot to mention you want to leave this a little bit open so you can turn it through the zipper, but you can use your finger to open the zipper if you forgot to do that, like I did. Okay, so what we're going to do now is open the bag up a little bit and fold the corners so that we're going to sew them as in one little line. So we're going to match the seam allowance here with this seam allowance, and then flatten that corner so it looks like this. And then I like to push the seam allowances in opposite directions here so it's easier to sew. So match up those seam allowances, and we're going to sew one line of stitching across with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and make sure you back stitch on this one because we don't want the corners to come loose. So we are going to do that with all 4 of these corners. Alright, once you've sewn that corner, that's what it will look like. You can see that's how the bag's getting its dimensional shape. I'm going to show you how to do this one more time just in case you missed it. So you're going to open your bag like this. It's flat. You're kind of just pinching those 2 corners together. Press the seam allowance this way on top, this way on the bottom, and then pin those together, and then sew just one stitching line, 1/4 inch. When all 4 corners are sewn, this is what your little bag will look like. Trim the threads, and if you want to finish these edges with a serger, you can, or you can use spray check. Since they won't be exposed edges, they'll be inside the bag, you don't really need to do that, but it's an option. So after you've trimmed your threads, turn the bag right side out through the opening, the zipper, and then we'll just kind of push the corners out a little, and then your bag is all ready to go. So you can put your doggy bags in there and pull them out the other side. And then this clips onto a D-ring on your leash or collar. You can clip it like that.